Thanks, John. Those able, please stand and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please stay standing to remember those who passed away at our last meeting. Jeffrey Burton Decker Sr., Nicole Perez, Marceline Mary Castro, Joseph Richard Wagner. Thank you. Roll call, John Cross.
Here.
John Rivers. Samantha Ellis.
Present.
Bill Brown.
Here.
And I am present. Fire exits are behind me. Please use the fire escape to exit the building. If we, in case of emergency, do not use the stairs or elevator. Also, please silence your cell phone. Correspondence?
Nothing for tonight.
Okay, we have a couple of minutes before the public hearing starts. I'll open it up to the petitioners. If you have any, if anyone would like to address the board, now is the time.
We'll have 2 to 3 minutes per person. If there is anyone who is on Zoom, once we finish with the petitioners here in person, if you raise your hand using the React feature on Zoom, you'll be called on in the order in which you raise your hand.
Given the time of 3 minutes, we will start petitioners? Yeah, Jeff, if you don't mind sitting tight, just because time, I don't want to, we have to stick to it. We have a public hearing at 7:05.
Okay.
So if you could do 3 minutes on the dot, it's yours. That's pretty much actually 3 minutes what we need.
Okay. I'm trying to speak as fast as my sister-in-law. She's a real quick talker. So, thank you for your indulgence here today. At the last meeting, there was some really gross things said about me. I really don't care that they're in the meeting. It really bothered me. That was in the newspaper. I want to take an opportunity to give you a little bit of my community service to this area. Most of you know it already. I came back from law school, 1978. I immediately started Strive Society to revive interest in the village of Ellenville. We had the first 4th of July activities that year as a result of Strive's activity, fireworks. 79, we did fireworks again. 83, Bob Mangles and I formed the Town of Wawarsing 4th of July Committee, and which is still going today. I still continue doing the fireworks for that group. I was elected judge in 1980, served for 12 years. During my term, we started the work restitution in this area, so people who were fined didn't have to go to jail if they couldn't afford the fine. We also started, and I started, the Civil Rights Commission for this area for people who had objections to what was going on in the public view. 1988, I became the Citizen of the Year chairman, and I still serve in that position. 1992, I became the town attorney, served for 8 years as both town attorney, planning board, ZBA. I also in the same year became the village of Woodridge attorney, and I still serve in that position both as the planning board and ZBA attorney. 1992, after the school vote had gone down for a new school, a citizen committee was formed. Ed Jacobs was the chair. I was the vice. After that, the school was condemned. Ed Jacobs died. I formed a group in Ellenville. We pushed hard. And even though we were told there's no way that school would win, we won with a 75% vote. Charles Freer, who was the president of the board at that time, indicated in the newspaper it passed because of the efforts of Jeff Kaplan. 2002, I became the mayor of Ellenville. At the time, Ellenville was in real bad shape, just like a lot of these other communities. As a result of my efforts, together with a great group of people that I'll mention in a second, we were able to revive the downtown area. Basically, when I came in, the buildings were all blank. You could take, were vacant. You could take a bowling ball and roll it down Canal Street, and you wouldn't hit anything. We revived that with revolving loan funds. We cleaned up the vacant spots by giving loans to the restaurants. I created Resnick Park by getting the donation from Lou Resnick and getting the bank to put in the clock. I was responsible, quite frankly, to get a revalve that lowered the taxes significantly in the village, and was one of the reasons why there has been a great revival of valuations in the village. Because of that, I pushed for many years, and with John Gabaris's help, we finally got the county to make the villages whole. I was responsible for negotiating the new village hall, purchasing the Shawanga Country Club, and neighborhood walks. And I can go on for quite a while, but finally, during COVID, I started Canal Streets. The mayor of Kingston came down and said, I wish we could do this in Kingston. So I've had many accomplishments. I've dedicated myself to community service. I think it was totally inappropriate for the paper to put those kind of comments in, and I can just mention in closing, Joe, that these are your meetings. Someone shouldn't be able to get up here and say disgusting things about anyone, including yourself, Bill Collier, Sam Ellis, and myself. When I was the mayor, I would shut those people down, and I would think in the future, maybe give some consideration when people get up with really no intent other than to destroy somebody's reputation. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. We're just gonna pause the petitioner section so we can open the public meeting, I'm sorry, the public hearing.
We have a presentation for the public hearing,
Oh,
so I am,
Yeah, I'll let you finish.
Oh,
and
sorry.
open it. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing? The purpose of this public hearing is to receive input and comments from the public regarding construction of a public safety radio tower located at 7284-7286 Route 209, the Highway Department in Wawarsing.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
All right, John, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nope, no worries. All right, so we're just getting this pulled together here so we can get full screen, and I will share on the Zoom as well.
You need Bill to help you out.
All right, so whoever is giving the presentation, you should be able to, oops, see if I can get this out of the way. You should be able to just swipe up and then we'll go to the next page. Thank you.
That's the only.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity to make a brief presentation before comments are given with respect to the county's proposal to essentially construct a public safety radio tower on lands owned by the town of Wawarsing and behind your highway garage. My name is Dennis Doyle. I'm the planning director for Ulster County. I have with me tonight Steve Peterson. Steve, your title, I know I'll get it wrong, so why don't you?
Deputy Director.
The Deputy Director for the Emergency Services. So we're going to try to take you through why we need a tower, what the changes have been to the county's emergency management system as it relates to radio communication. Why this area makes sense in terms of the location of the tower and some of the work that we've done to date. The decision before the town are two. One is that we're requesting relief from your zoning statute under something called the balance of public interest test. That is a seminal case that was decided, I believe, in 1998. And then we'll be requesting that the town allow us access to your lands, and we'll be working with you to essentially come to an agreement so that we can take an easement on your property for the construction of the tower as proposed. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to try this. If I get it wrong,
Oh, boy.
so let's try, I have one other solution here.
okay.
So let's do. So
Oh.
just this down arrow right here then.
Down how it works? Okay, I'm
Yes.
gonna stand on this side.
Great.
Thank you.
Maybe turn a little bit. Maybe some of the, we can. Yeah, okay.
Is that all right?
Sure.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, we'll do it that way.
Yep.
Folks in the back need to move to the front.
Yes.
You get extra points if you move to the front, just so you know. Here, I'll move my stuff over here. You sit right in the front. Steve, don't disappear on me back there.
not right
Yeah, I could see that.
I just wanted to get out
Use your right home.
He is my right hand. bumpy as it may be. So what we're gonna go through tonight is essentially the approval process need, with the discussion of the environmental association with the project, some of the design things, and then eventually get to build. And at the end of this presentation, I'm gonna give you a bit of a look at a schedule for this. So where are we right now? The current radio system, Steve, you wanna do this? Why don't you do this?
I do.
Yeah.
So my name is Steve Peterson, Deputy Director with Emergency Services for the county. I've been working on a radio system, upgrade for several years for the county. And which is what brings us here today. So the current radio system is a legacy system. It consists of 5 sites for fire and EMS, 3 sites for law enforcement, and 7 sites for paging. We contracted with Motorola in 2019. That increased it to 10 sites for fire and EMS, 4 for law enforcement, and radios, consoles, and 911 phone system upgrade as well at the time. The proposed design increases fire and EMS by 6 sites, law enforcement by 12, and paging by 8 sites. So it will be a total of a 16 site system, 15 in transmit simulcast system, 15 in transmit, 1 in receive only. And that will bring us up to a spectrum, which is a VHF radio system. So fire, EMS, and law enforcement are all on the same frequency to be able to communicate and to be able to interrupt for incidents. Okay, system coverage, existing system coverage right now for law enforcement, you can see the gaps, right? There's holes for the coverage. The proposed system this is a portable.
Yeah.
Closes in all of those gaps that you see with the sites that are proposed for the system.
And you can see the major gap here in the Route 209 corridor. This is the proposed facility in Cohasson or Wawarsing, how that gap gets closed by that facility. So from a coverage analysis, you get a sense of why this is needed and why it's needed here. Any questions? So we did a feasibility report. We started looking at this. We started saying where, what, how. We did a feasibility report. The feasibility report came back and said that this was a great site for a tower. And we did some work on the location of that tower. In terms of how you get there and where the tower is, this is the existing highway garage. We run up your existing road system around by your water tower, which is over here. And at the end of that quarry area where you're storing some material, we're proposing a location of the tower facility itself. Since we've been here the last time, we've made some changes to that location, partly based on the comments that the town made in terms of trying to find access to the remainder of the property. So we've changed the way the layout of the tower site is, the compound area, and you'll see that right here. So what we've done is we've shrunk the compound area down to 33 feet and extended it in long ways. So now instead of 70 feet, it's 80 feet. And then it gives you an access past our areas to get to the rest of your site.
Tony?
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of tower loading, this will give you a sense of what the loading is. See if you want to do the tower loading.
Yep, so we've got our RF antennas up on top, receive will be up on top. These are part of our remaining system, and then we have microwave path from a site in Cohasson that will come down to here. So we'll have that protection of reliability in a microwave for 99.999% of the time.
And this gives you a sense of where it relates to and why we're talking about a height restriction on the tower itself. And we have liked to have gone higher, but we were restricted by the FAA to a height of 155 feet. The reason for that restriction is the airport. And so if you look at where the airport is located, the airport is down here. Our tower facility is up in this area. I'll give you a little bit of education in terms of what airport acronyms are. The PIPC-OCS actually stands for Precision Approach Path Indicator Obstacle Clearance Zone. So that's what we're just out of that. That's why we're trying to stay in this area. That gives us the idea essentially that we are safe within the airport, even though FAA is going to require us to be lighted. And there's some other explanations in here in this proposal as well. Any questions on it? Okay, so where are we in terms of permits? This will give you a listing of the permits that are here. No wetlands. We don't need a highway permit for 209 because we're going to use your existing curb cut. So the major permits that we need are permits associated with the town allowing us there and the easement that I mentioned. We also have completed. Let me back up. I'm guessing the up arrow works that way, right? We also have completed what they call a NEPA analysis, National Environmental Policy Act analysis. That came back and indicated that there are no significant impacts associated with the National Policy Act. And the reason we have to do NEPA versus seeker, the county is going to be lead agency with respect to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. We have to do NEPA because of the involvement of the federal government in terms of permitting this facility. Whoops, sorry, going the wrong way. One of the things we're real concerned about is visibility of the facility. So we did two things. One is the first thing we did is doing a GIS analysis to take a look at where the facility will be visible from based on topography, and then adding in where the facility would be visible from based on the additional vegetation to the site. So looking at this, these red areas essentially are telling us that they wouldn't be visible based on the topography. These areas in yellow would indicate that these areas would also not be visible based on vegetation. And when we start to say, well, where is it visible? You can see the area around Port Bend Road, areas along Route 209 in the area of the highway garage, and areas to the north of the facility are visible. So what we did with that information, we went back and we said, where should we take pictures? We did some look at how to do photo simulations. We did photo simulations of what the tower would look like from those areas where we thought they would be visible. This is the visibility zone zoomed in on, and I tried to highlight the areas where the tower looked like it would be most visible. Here's looking at this. These are 2 mile and 5 mile rings around the tower site, which is shown right here. And then here's a cluster of air photos, photo simulations that we took based on that, including the ones particularly with respect to Port Bend Road. Photo simulations are done on the basis of essentially you take a photo of the area and then you overlay the tower site. So this is for Neukill. You can see the tower just peeking above. If I didn't say it, I should say this before. This is a lattice tower. It's not a monopole, so it is a lattice steel tower. This takes a look at the area from Port Bend Road. This is probably one of the most visible areas for the tower. It's not shielded by any vegetation at all. So this is the area from Port Bend Road. You can see the tower here. It blends into the background fairly well. I did take a look at and zoomed in on it so you can see the tower. It does not come up over the ridge line, which is one of the things that you certainly want to avoid. It doesn't highlight itself on the ridge line. Okay. This is the area from the cemetery, right? It is visible uphill from the cemetery. This is taken just as you go up to the cemetery entrance, and it's taken looking at uphill, and you can see the tower peeking up in that area. About the top 2/3 of the tower will be visible from that cemetery. This takes a look at one of the any questions on the visibility work that we've done? Okay.
That is 2/3 of the tower sticking up, so like 90 feet.
Somewhere in that. I mean, I don't want to be held to the number, but looking at that, that's what it appears from just a quick look at it measuring it from an eye perspective without actually having anybody do a CAD drawing of it.
So from your studies, I know you're on public land, was this the most visible?
The two most visible spots are literally this area right here and the area on Port Bend Road, which is at a distance. Port Bend Road is at a distance. Those are the two most visible areas that are close in within the 2 mile radius of the tower.
And as it goes up, I know it gets, what's Steve, you said this before last time, I'm sorry, how wide is it?
At the base, I think it turned out to be, it's a 3 leg, so it's like 10 or 12 feet for each leg. And then it, comes up, and then the last 20, 30 feet maybe are straight up. So it's much more narrow at the top.
Like 2 feet narrow or?
No, not quite that tight. I can get you the exact dimension, but it's probably like 6, 5 or 6 feet.
Thank you.
Okay. What we try to do is, give you a sense of what we need in terms of your zoning statute and why we're asking for relief from your zoning statute. This is the current zoning district. It's a business highway district. The business highway district takes a look at what's allowed in the business highway district. The business highway district does allow telecommunication facilities in that area. The difficulty we're having is your definition of telecommunication facilities is a commercial definition. And so we do not fit under a commercial area definition for telecommunication facilities. So the thought is we would ask the town to essentially relax those standards that are in your zoning statute as it relates to telecommunication system for the business highway district. Okay. The balance of public interest test has literally nine things associated with it. The most important is the ability of the municipality to participate, which is why we asked you to hold a public hearing to make sure that the public and the municipality had the ability to participate in making decisions in terms of whether we should or shouldn't be exempt. The real question here is who decides with respect to this. We can answer all these questions, and I think we've given you a draft in terms of what those questions, how we would suggest the town address those questions relative to the kind and function of land use involved. Clearly, the county has a sole information relative to the need to do public safety radio communication systems. And also relative to our grant of authority, the county's grant of authority under county law, provide this service. And then if you go through in terms of alternate locations, the effective local land use, et cetera, we don't want to go through that, but we can give you a sense of what they are. The county will address this as part of its seeker finding, but the town makes the final decision. Questions? Where are we now in terms of time, in terms of responsibilities? The county has a responsibility for compliance under seeker and NEPA. The county also has some responsibility for final design, bidding, construction, property agreement, et cetera, et cetera. The town's responsibilities are literally, can we meet the balance of public interest test? And can we come to an agreement in terms of use of property?
That was going to be my question too, of how, who would maintain the road that you guys go to the site, and how often are you going to the site? And the access, how much access do you need? Those are questions I did have as well. Would the county be responsible to maintain the road that leads there?
So let me just say that you have we would think that this is joint responsibilities. We actually have to have access to the site relative to the road that goes up there, but you also have a water tower up there. One of the things we want to make sure of is any agreement that you would have access to your water facilities associated with being able to get up there. In terms of construction, these things go up relatively quickly. And the time of construction is long, excuse me, is longer than the number of people that are on site. Think of this, that you have to let concrete cure, et cetera, et cetera. So anywhere between 6 to 8 months, we figure for a construction period for these types of things. And then once they're up, they're only visited in terms of making sure that they're operating probably once a month, Steve.
Yeah, it's like 4 times a year for service. And then you have outages, you know, if we need to go because there's an outage of, you know, something, one of the antennas is bad, base station went bad, whatever. But 4 times for just regular maintenance on the equipment.
Okay.
Okay.
Our Wawarsing water tower struggles reading, mainly because of leaf foliage. Given the height of this, I would love it if we could find some opportunity to raise our antenna up 50 feet, 60 feet, however long, so we can get a better reading without interfering with the emergency services.
So I think one of the things that if I remember correctly, when I wrote some of the language for consideration from the town in terms of making your decision, you can reserve that right. But certainly the county would have no objection if you wanted to be on the tower, relative to even your fire systems, et cetera, to the extent that they can be accommodated. Looking at tower loading, we're getting up here in terms of trying to make sure we have coverage. The bottom of the tower is not loaded that much that we're seeing and we see in other towers.
I would just need to know the frequency information. Sure. And then, you know, we could certainly accommodate.
My question, power for this. The power for the water tank comes up the right side.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, you're gonna have to dig from the water tank all the way down.
So if
I
you're,
mean, where are we gonna where are we gonna bury the electric? We're gonna have to move all the material? We're gonna bury the electric off to the side or, you know, in future, because we're up there moving equipment, we're moving stockpiles of material. I don't know, what's the depth, 18 inches, 32 inches?
so when we get the detailed design work, we would work with you in terms of how that, the power, and we have to get fiber up there as well. How power and fiber would up there. The real question we would ask you is there enough power at the water facility? So then, but we would do that work and then we'd be able to hook on there. If there's not, then we would run our own conduit up. If that's what the town wants, conduit, or we run pole systems up. Conduit is probably, since you already have conduit in the ground, we don't know whether there's spare conduit there or not. But we would probably run conduit up and then conduit under. We would run to the side, wherever you want, wherever you tell us to run, we'll run. Or we could come halfway up and come up the hill straight up into the power site.
I believe bringing in fiber, the power comes up with roughly 18 inches to 24 inches in a row.
Yeah, and we actually just visited the site on the way here. We saw some of the stakes and some of the cable. Yeah, yeah.
We had a meeting today with Tectonic, who's doing the design, and I believe that Central Hudson wants to come out next week, which will let you know what day that is. They're gonna come out and do their site work, so we'll have more of an answer after that.
My concern is like right down through my main fair, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where you see the stockpiles, you were up there.
yeah, I mean, we don't wanna
Yeah, yeah.
do anything that's gonna hamper your operations by any means.
Yeah, whether you want us on the left side or the
I'm
downside.
just worried about like maybe
Yeah.
somebody digging to it.
Yeah.
We're up there doing something.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, absolutely.
We would work out a schedule for us to be on site, put that conduit in, and sometimes when they put this type of conduit into critical facilities like this, they actually encase the conduit in concrete. Okay. So, where are we now? Our preliminary design is pretty much done in terms of how we're gonna access the site, how high the tower is. Now we're gonna go back and do detailed design in terms of the details of working out with the town. Town and county actions, we're hoping that we can get through this by July of this year. And be ready to essentially go to construction, by early fall, if we can. And that would mean a decision on the easement that we need and a decision on seeker from the county and a decision from the town in terms of, the balance of public interest test. And then from a construction standpoint, we're giving ourselves a year to construct, but that gives you a sense of terms of the contracting work, the design work, the bidding work, the approval work at the county legislature, and then the construction, which is much shorter time than that. We are really shooting for a March 27 as a target date, because we have investments that we're making in the county's emergency management building, that we want to make sure that these towers, these are what we call priority one towers, that these towers are complete so that we can put the new operating system in place at the emergency management building and have it correspond with our need to essentially provide that communication elsewhere. So this is we're trying to get 6 towers,
12.
12 towers.
All built, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Any questions?
Any members of the public have any questions about the emergency tower? Anybody on Zoom, Johnny?
If you're on Zoom and you have any questions about the presentation that we can direct to the folks that are here, please use the React feature and raise your hand.
No. Dennis will give a minute or two. And so next steps from the town's balance of public interest. Okay. Just want to make sure we understand.
The next critical step would be make sure that we get a balance of public interest test decision. The county will provide to the county legislature, hopefully in May, the document necessary for the environmental decision that the county has to make under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. There are arguments that have been advanced, and we certainly concur that the town's decision with respect to a balance of public interest test, since it's an exemption from zoning, is not required to make a determination. You don't have to have a secret determination in order to make that decision.
I think for me, obviously, if we would allow a commercial tower, in that space, why would we not allow emergency services, especially given the dead zone that's there?
Great.
John Rivera, so we didn't put you on the spot, but you had a very sensitive story last year at emergency. Mind sharing it as far as the benefits of having this versus what we have now?
But I will share a version of it. Yeah, I just, we have been on incidents in the past, without saying specific ones, where, interoperable communications was non-existent. We would use, Humble Rescue has a rescue vehicle that has 2 radios in it, VHF and low band, for the fire departments, and a person, myself, physically sitting there is talking on one radio, playing the relay operator like an old-fashioned switchboard, and relaying messages between fire and EMS for the incident, because we don't have crossband repeaters down here. I know the county emergency vehicle does, but we don't have that. So this would eliminate that. This would get us all on the same page when we have these large events. We're all talking to each other, and the dead zones, we constantly are experiencing, communication issues with the 911 center directly. There's always, even at our own building here in Ellenville, call out with the ambulance, and we're constantly repeating ourselves over and over again, they can't hear us because there's just so much dead zones. How this will eliminate that essentially.
Any members of the public, any other board members? All right, Dennis, Steve, thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thorough this.
Joe, you need to close the public hearing, and then next meeting we'll have the public interest, that's what we're here.
Making a motion to close the public hearing regarding the emergency tower constructed at the highway department in town of Wawarsing. So move. All in favor? Aye.
Thank
We're gonna go back to the petitioner section to see if there's anybody online in the audience that would like to address the board. This is the only time during the meeting that the public would get to address the board. John, you want to say it just while you're right there, people on Zoom?
Sure. So if anyone would like to address the board who is on Zoom, please use the react feature to raise your hand, and I will call on folks or unmute you in the order in which you requested to be to speak.
Dennis, Steve, thank you so much again for coming down.
Thank you.
Is anybody raising their hand?
It does not look like it now.
Okay, moving on, attorney concerns, Bill?
Yeah, well, at the last meeting, there were people here objecting to the Wawarsing Estates project, and they presented one page of a 6-page document and making the allegation that Lenny Heck was the manager of the Wawarsing Estates. That was a typographical error, as I thought that night. Had they presented the entire document, which they must have had access to, it would have been very obvious that it was Wawarsing Holdings, and that the document contained typographical error, either by autocorrect from the computer or my secretary, just having in the back of her mind, I'm Wawarsing Estate on another matter. So it's totally a typographical error. And then based on that, you and Councilperson Ellis were attacked for conflict of interest, which was non-existent. It was totally inappropriate.
Thank you. Dip into the agenda. We do not have any budget modifications. Number 2, to get a motion to approve the bills as audited.
No move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Get a motion to accept the minutes from the March 5th meeting, the March 10th meeting, special workshop, the March 11th budget meeting, March 19th meeting, March 23rd workshop, and the March 25th special workshop.
No move. 3 through 8.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the longevity payment for the year of 2026, Todd Boop.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Get a motion to approve the payment to A. Colarusso and Son for the taxiway A North Pavement Rehabilitation and Connector Taxiways Reconfiguration FAA Project 336-201-48-2024 payout SOC number 3 in the amount of $38,463.52.
No move.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're gonna table number 11, reason being, we need to do more research on the insurance. May I get a motion to cancel the public hearing scheduled for April 16th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just to lump 12, 13, and 14 together for this, we are, going to rescind the changes that were made. Oh, sorry, shouldn't say that. Yes, we're going to rescind the changes that were made on the December law. Before we make a change of any law, we need to receive certain certain feedback from our local planning board and our county planning board before we hold a public hearing. So in order, we're basically following the process and moving the public hearing to June 4th. So I'm going to say that formally, but just so the folks understand in the audience and on Zoom, why we're doing what we're doing. 13, can I get a motion to forward the local law of the Town of Wawarsing Planning Board to the Town of Wawarsing Planning Board and Ulster County Planning Board for their consideration and comment in accordance with general municipal law.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Get a motion to authorize the town clerk to advertise a public hearing on June 4th, 2026 at 7:05 PM regarding local law regulating 55+ age-restricted housing, that the purpose of the public hearing is to receive input and comment from the public regarding local law to amend chapter 112 of the zoning law of the of Town of Wawarsing to repeal section 112-80 relating to the removal of the age restriction to housing developments.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You get a motion to rescind the motion made on March 25th, 2026, accepting the resignation of Elizabeth Valencia, Secretary of the Supervisor, effective on Friday, April 17th, 2026.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Get a motion to accept the resignation of Elizabeth Valencia, Secretary to the Supervisor, effective as of end date on Wednesday, May 13th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Just note that her last day of work is April 17th.
Let's see. Yes, I'm sorry. You get a motion to approve the hiring Camp Schwandunk and Aquatic returners. The start date is to be determined, and they are subject to pre-employment, physical, and drug screening.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Get a motion to approve payment to Delaware Engineering for Town of Wawarsing Highway Garage Services rendered through 11/19/2025, invoice number 23-2702-25 in the amount of $3,014.20.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Get a motion to approve the payment to Delaware Engineering for the amount for Town of Wawarsing Highway Garage Services rendered through 3/1/26. Invoice number 23-2702-26 in the amount of $1,915.20.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Get a motion to approve payment to TAM Enterprises for after-hour emergency work for Irish Cape Road, invoice 91071 in the amount of $4,650.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We had a severe backup at the bottom of Irish Cape Road where it meets 209, essentially right by the Knife Museum. We are not tasked to deal with it, so luckily TAM was able to get there the same day and services were not interrupted. Just a bit of context for number 20. Get a motion to accept Pacero Associates qualifications for professional services for airport development projects for the Joseph Y. Resnick Airport.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You get a motion to approve the hiring of the following parks and cemeteries position. Their start date to be determined, and they're subject to pre-employment, physical, and drug screening.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Stay tuned.
Nothing for today.
Bill?
We hired the summer help for the highway department for parks and cemeteries. The park bathrooms will be open starting April 18th. And park rangers will be on duty starting April 18th at Lippman Park. Highway department has been busy taking care of their winter equipment, getting things put away, cleaned up and ready for summer season. Supervisor and I, met with members of the Barracuda swim team staff to identify maintenance issues at the, Verhoeven Pool. And, new sign is being designed to replace the current welcome to Wawarsing sign located in Verhoeven. The new sign will also include the Barracuda, swim team on our sign. Airport has been very busy with people interested in renting different things. The storage building there has been rented for helicopter storage. And we have a request from 2 different people to have land leases made up to build hangars there for planes. Recreation, 130 pre-registered for the early camp. Camp Shawangam registration is still open. Live football registration is open Wednesday, the 15th, 5 to 7 p.m. April 11th, the 4th of July committee will be hosting a spaghetti dinner at the Elks Lodge from 4 to 7. April 18th, the 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. is the Easter egg hunt at Lippman Park from 11 to 1. The egg hunt begins at 1. April 20th, the 5:30 to 7 camp registration. I'm not sure what that,
We're shutting the school on April 20th, and will be doing camp registration there as well, from 5, so from 5:30 to 7.
yeah, no, I just didn't understand.
No,
why it was written.
it's okay. I think registration for Sunday, for, the egg hunt is till 12 though, right?
Yes, and the egg hunt stuff starts.
Yes, so that you can register from
Sunday or Saturday.
this Sunday, Saturday. No,
No, the
Saturday,
18th, next Saturday.
18th,
Saturday.
next Saturday, the 18th. And registration is the 12th, bring kids, it's gonna be fun, hopefully it doesn't rain, fingers crossed. So I had a question actually for Bill, with the pool. I didn't have an update with the pool,
Which pool?
the pool for the school should,
We haven't had a meeting. We're waiting on some information regarding the budget and funds, how it's gonna be spent.
So the assessor department, Johnny actually met with the people, so he'll have more to say, but we do have a new assessor, her name is Robin Quick. And she's taken off and she's doing a great job. She's been here for a week. And everybody's taken a liking to her, so we're super happy to have her on board. We did the recreation department. That's about it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Want to thank Tony and Jim Montagna. We were supposed to meet last week or the week before after the access road to the well. They met together a day earlier than our meeting date, and they hashed it all out, and the problem seems to be solved. So thank you to the 2 guys. Hopefully that will work for the vendor to be able to get up there and rehab the well and start that project, because it's sorely needed. We're losing yield on that well up there. Most of the stuff's already been covered. Spaghetti dinner, yeah, this Saturday. It's our longest standing 4th of July community fundraiser that we have. It's a fun event. It's only $10. Children under 5 are free. So it's a good event to come to. And mark your calendar, save the date, July 3rd, 5 to 9 p.m. at the airport is going to be for the 250th anniversary. It's a pre-party on July 3rd, and we're calling it Red, White, and Boom. We will be doing several events that day. There'll be 2 live bands, there'll be a DJ, there'll be some costume, there's a costume contest, there's a apple pie baking contest. You'll start to see signage going out and advertisement on that soon. And some of the children activities are happening, bouncy houses, so it's gonna be a fun night. A lot of things happening that day, and then we're gonna end the night with a sky lantern release. So we need people to come because it takes there's about 100 sky lanterns that will be released, and it takes about 100 people to set those off. So hopefully, looking forward to a good event.
Sounds fun.
Oh, Sam, gonna be there?
Be there.
Thanks, John. As Sam mentioned, Robin Quick, who's our new assessor, has really taken off, with the role. Already looking at, the real property system, looking for opportunities for us to tighten up, where we are, assessing taxation. So there's already some opportunities there, that her and the assessors department will start to tackle, over the next year. We are on track to have our, well, I should say, all of the senior exemptions have been completed, for the following tax roll, which is a huge undertaking of validating information, validating income. Starting next year, we will also, for senior exemptions, be requesting the 1040 Schedule A forms, for continuing to be eligible for those exemptions, which is, based on the law that was changed in 2022. So we are well on our way for our tentative roll to be released on May 1st. The roll will be available in the clerk's office and Jackie Collier's office for, public viewing. If you see anything that you would, like to address or have amended, grievance day will be held the fourth Tuesday in May. And then we'll be on set for the final roll to be, announced and available to the public, by July 1st. That is assessor, parks and trails. We still have one town position open on the Parks Commission. There was Hank Alcondria came and spoke at a community event that seemed to generate some interest. So hopefully Jackie will start seeing some applications coming in. The application is very short and simple to fill out. So don't let that be a deterrent to you. It's important for that board to have a quorum to meet, to do their important work. It's a commission, so they do have the ability to make budget recommendations to the town of Wawarsing and the village of Allenville as well, where monies should be spent to improve our parks. So it's a really great tool, especially if you love outdoor space and community engagement.
I found a applicant for money afterwards.
Ooh, okay, excellent. Building department, we had a budget meeting on Wednesday. The anticipated permitting income from the building department is on track. We in the last year tasked the building department with getting very serious about the inspections and the permitting processes that they're following. And that is coming to fruition. I'm really excited about Patrick Wardzinski being full-time with us now to be doing fire inspections. We've done a lot of them to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and our constituents from a safety perspective. I have a couple of kind of community things I wanted to share with folks. I'm going to butcher this, and I'm going to try really hard. The Squatchy Waska Mountain Fest. I got it right this time. It is a trail run that starts place in Burn Road Park. It is happening on April 25th. There is a call from the organizers that if any local businesses are interested in being featured in emails that are going out to the 160 runners, to please reach out to Kim Levinsky at Trail Party Director at sasquadtrailrunning.com. So if you are interested in having your local business featured in their marketing emails that are going out to these folks, please reach out to Kim. And I think that's all my April. I'll give this one as well because it's beginning of May. On May 2nd, the 4th annual spring cleanup with the Coalition of Forward-Facing Ellenville, NAACP, the Ellenville Central School District, Student Council, Wawarsing Democrats Organization, Wawarsing Republican Organization, and the Police Benevolent Association will all be gathering at Liberty Square on May 2nd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. To clean the walking areas of Ellenville. So if you are interested, please show up. Everything is available for you. There's coffee there. Oh, and of course the Wawarsing Recreation Department will be involved as well. Sorry, no sorry. Everything is provided: gloves, pickers, safety vests, and rain date for that will be May 9th, if needed. And that's everything for me tonight.
Thanks, John. one last thing as far as the assessor's office, we're very fortunate right now, because our old assessor, Mike Summers, who was here for 30-ish years, he came back on a part-time basis earlier this year. And, bringing Robin on, plus Mike's experience in this area and Stacy's experience, we're very fortunate to have the experience we do, the professionals in place. It's very rare for a municipality, let alone our size, to have two assessors in one office. So I'm very excited, and we're lucky. Speaking of some more recognition, I'd like to recognize our very own Tanya Solstrom. She is the new president of the Ulster County Clerks Association. She's in our clerk's office. She was nominated by peers and voted in about 2 weeks ago. That's a really big deal. She hails from our office, so congratulations to Tanya. Nilsari came to me last week, half on fire, saying that she's going to meet the congressman in 15 minutes, what to do. And I said, well, Nilsari, if you had one question to ask, what's it going to be? And we both agreed our kids need transportation to Carharson Pool. So she did it, and next day they replied with some solutions. So thank you, Nilsari, for just going with it. I appreciate you taking my advice, and look forward to what can, bear fruit from their advice. So thank you.
Nice work, Nilsari.
I do have a handout for you, Chris, for this next one. There is an ADU event being held in Kingston, April 10th, tomorrow, from 12 to 6 p.m. at the Andy Murphy Center. They would like the public to come, meet and greet between homeowners, design, construction, better understanding of zoning and permitting, benefits, basic and beyond of ADUs. All the information's on this handout. I made a copy. Those interested, I could talk all day about the benefit of ADUs, but I won't. Our fee schedule is going out as we speak for the Napanock, Wawarsing, and Carharson water and/or wastewater users. Anytime something like this goes out, we're very sensitive to that change. Please reach out to myself and John Gavaris or Holly. If you have any questions on it, we will talk you through it, and we're here. Like Bill said, we've met with some of the Barracuda swim coaches and parents. Big thank you to Jill and Amanda specifically. We went on a nice site visit. You can think of when you visit that, when you go into the Village of Ellenville, when we won the 8-man football, I think in 2020 or 2021, that's how we envision this, but home of the Barracudas, to really support that team that's been around and established for a couple of decades, to show awareness to the pool. We're giving the pool a nice facelift, the amenities around the pool, and obviously they really want to drive participation, linking Ellenville to Carharson, to give an equitable shot for the kids who want to learn how to swim, be competitive, and just meet new people, meet new friends. I think it's a great bridge between Carharson and the village that way. I will be at Littman Park this Saturday from 10 to 12, not in the pavilion, Jackie. There's a couple of picnic tables before the pavilion. No agenda, no politics, just going there. It's open to the public, whoever wants to come down and chat. It is specific to that area for those residents that can't get here during normal business hours to chat with me. So obviously it's open to the public, but definitely, reaching out to those Napanock, Wawarsing residents, feel free to come down and chat on whatever is on your mind. Tony and I, we had some conversations about the Barber Bridge Road. We'll have more of an update, but I want to let everyone know we're getting somewhere there. I had emailed Chris and Mia the Carharson wastewater treatment plant updates, the clarifier. The crane was there earlier this week. It's coming along very, very nicely. They'll break ground for the electrical lines to be ran probably next week. So I'll keep everyone updated with that. But if anyone would like a site visit and our board members to go out there, it's definitely safe now to get both kind of vantage points from the top or down below. And lastly, John Gavaris doesn't like recognition, so he's probably going to hate me for this. Yep, you're welcome. The Noonday Club named him Citizen of the Year for all the volunteer work he does for our area. Well deserved. On that note, we get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
There we go.